In today's class, let's begin learning how to use the Spanish tildes, okay? The tildes, I know in each language the word tilde means something different. In Spanish, the tilde is that short line that appears on some vowels, okay? So only vowels can have tildes in Spanish, and actually all the vowels may carry a tilde if the rule applies. And in Spanish there are 4 rules for tildes, okay? In this lesson, let's learn the first rule of tildes, right? It's the, I don't know if the most important one, but it's the one you will come across more often, okay? However, we will also learn in some following lessons rule number 2, rule number 3, and rule number 4. So we can actually dominate the whole, all the rules and know exactly when a tilde applies in Spanish. In Spanish, if a word carries a tilde and you do not write it with a tilde, that's a typo in Spanish, okay? That's an orthographic mistake. So it's wrong. So it's very important to know how and when to use the tildes. And since Spanish is a very regular language, okay, and the pronunciation is very, very specific, the tildes will always let us know when, where a word needs to be accentuated, okay, in which syllable. So, rule number 1 of the tildes. This tells us that words carry a tilde. First of all, let me tell you, what are agudas, palabras graves, and palabras esdrújulas, okay? Palabras, you know, means words in Spanish. So, let's say we have a word, casa, okay? Casa. This means house. This word has 2 syllables. It's ca, sa, okay? Words that are agudas are those words that have the accent in the last syllable. Words that are graves are the ones that have the accent in the last but one syllable. So, casa is grave because the accent, it's the last but one syllable that is accentuated. It's not casa. If it were casa, it would be aguda because the accent would be at the end. It is casa. The accent is here, so it is grave. Okay? A word that is aguda would be, for example, mansión. Okay? Mansión. This means villa. Mansión is goes like this in syllables. Okay? Mansión. The accent is in sion, okay? So this one is aguda, right? Sion, if the accent is in the last syllable, it is aguda. If the accent is in the last but one, it is grave. And which are esdrújulas? That means that the accent goes in the last but 2. So for example, actually the word esdrújula is esdrújula. I'll show you. La, okay? The accent is in last but 2. This is the last but 1, this is the last but 2, okay? So this word is esdrújula, esdrújulas. So what does this first rule tell us? All the palabras agudas that end, terminadas, that end in either a vowel or an N or an S carry a tilde in the accentuated syllable. Okay? So in this case, we have seen this is aguda, right? The accent is in the last syllable. Sion. Does the rule apply? Yes. It's aguda ending in a letter N, right? N. So it carries a tilde in the vowel that is accentuated. Okay? The word casa, it's grave, right? Grave. So, when do the grave words carry a tilde? The ones that, oops, I have a typo here, consonante, I missed an E. The palabras graves terminadas that finish with a consonant that is not an N or an S, okay? So, or a vowel, sorry, o vocal. So, it's the right opposite to this rule for the agudas, right? Agudas carry a tilde when they end in a vowel or an N or an S. The graves carry a tilde when they end in a consonant, sorry, this doesn't go, in a consonant that is not an N or an S. So, why does casa not carry a tilde? Because it ends in a vowel, in vowel A, right? In vowel A. So the rule doesn't apply because it doesn't end in a consonant that is not N or S. It actually ends with a vowel. So the word casa is grave but does not carry a tilde. So let's try to find a word that is grave that does carry a tilde. For instance, ágil, right? Ágil means agile. Ágil. We separate it like this. Ágil, right? Ágil, agile. Is it grave? Yes, because the accent is in A. If it were aguda, it would be ágil. Ágil. However, it is ágil. The accent is in the first syllable. Ágil. Now, let's see. Is it grave that ends in consonant that is neither an N or an S? Yes, it's a consonant. Letter L is a consonant. And it's not an N and it is not an S, right? So, this word ágil does carry a tilde. That's why we have a tilde here on the letter A, right? Other examples of words that are graves that carry tildes because of this rule would be, well, for example, orden does not carry, you see, because it ends in a consonant that is an N, right? Let me see, one that does carry a tilde. Lápiz means pencil. Lápiz. This is the Spanish word for pencil. You separate it like this. La, pis, okay? Lápiz. So, it's grave, right? Because the accent is in la. La. Now, how do we know if the A from la carries a tilde or not? Because the last letter is a Z. Z, right? And Z is a consonant which is not N nor S. So it does carry a tilde on the A, right? Lápiz. Another example of now palabras agudas that carry tildes would be cajón, which means cajón is a box, okay? Cajón. Usually cajón is a wooden box. Caja we use for cardboard box and cajón more for wooden boxes, right? Cajón. Cajón. Right? So, it ends, so the accent is in the last syllable, right? So it is aguda. And it ends in letter N. So, it carries a tilde on the O, right? Aguda that does not carry a tilde. Let's think one. I can think of one now. Palabra no. Terminadas, consonante. Hey, I can think of one. Camión carries a tilde because it it finishes with N, right? Same as cajón. Televisión carries a tilde. Libro doesn't carry a tilde, it is grave, right? It doesn't carry a tilde because libro, book, doesn't end with a consonant, okay? So, well, now I can think of aguda that doesn't carry a tilde, although it's full of them. So let's pass to the esdrújulas, okay? So esdrújulas are those that carry the accent in the last but two, like the word esdrújula, okay? Another word that is esdrújula is brújula. Brújula means compass, the compass to know where you are located, okay? That always points to the north. Brújula is separated like this. Brújula. Brújula. We know, we can feel, because of the intonation, we can feel the accent in the last but one. And the rule tells us that always palabras esdrújulas carry a tilde in the syllable that is accentuated, okay? So, brújula will carry a tilde. And this is the last but two, last but three, last but four, last but five, if there were any. All those would also carry a tilde, okay? Okay, with an exception. Let me show you this exception. Let me get rid of this. It's actually not an exception because Spanish is quite a regular language that is usually doesn't have too many exceptions. This is actually not an exception, it's part of the rule. Look, the word simplemente, and this applies for all the words that end with the suffix mente. The suffix mente is the equivalent in English to the suffix ly. Simplemente means simply, okay? Amargamente would mean bitterly, right? Inteligentemente, intelligently, okay? So the suffix mente is equal to the suffix ly. Now, simplemente, it sounds, where is the accent? Simplemente, it sounds as if it were here, okay? In simplemente. But here, what we have to apply the rule, we have to recognize that there is a suffix to this word, the suffix mente. The root, the word, is simple, and simple is actually grave, right? Simple. So, the word simple, does it carry a tilde? No, it doesn't. So, when it's complemented with the suffix mente, it doesn't carry a tilde either. Now, if the original word without the suffix does carry a tilde, then after adding mente, it keeps the tilde. En esta clase vamos a empezar a aprender lo que son los diptongos en español, cómo funcionan los diptongos en español. So in today's lesson, this is our lesson number 294, 294. In our lesson 294, I will talk about the Spanish diphthong, okay? What is a diphthong and why is it so important in Spanish? Why do we have to learn the diphthong, okay? So, for two reasons we need to know about diphthong and hiatus, right? This class I will teach you diphthong and later I'll teach you hiatus. Because of this, did you see when you're writing in Spanish and you get to the end of the row and you have to write half of the word with a hyphen and then you continue the word in the next row, right? That you need to know how to separate in syllables in order to do that appropriately. You cannot know how to separate in syllables in Spanish if you don't know how diphthongs and how hiatus works in Spanish. And also, this is important in order to know how to apply, how to use the Spanish tildes, right? Spanish tildes are a very important part of Spanish orthography, right? Spanish spelling. So, in our previous lesson, I think it was the previous lesson I taught you the first rule of the Spanish tildes. There are 4 rules in total. To learn the second rule that I want to start teaching you that second rule of tildes. In order to start that topic, I need you to know Spanish diphthongs and Spanish hiatus. So this is gonna be the base, right? The basis in order to go on, to move on and continue learning Spanish tildes. So, let me say that briefly in Spanish. Este tema de la clase de hoy es fundamental para poder enseñarles más adelante la segunda regla de los tildes. Segunda regla o segundo uso de los tildes en español. Para eso tenemos que aprender diphtongo e hiato. Diphthong, diphthongo. Hiato is hiatus. Bien, what is a diphthong, right? What is a diphthong? When you have, in a word, you have 2 vowels together, and those 2 vowels go in the same syllable, that is a diphthong. We call that a diphthong. For example, también. The word también means also. También, also, or too, okay? For instance, él también vino. He came too, or he also came. También. This is a diphthong. Why? Because we have 2 vowels together, and these 2 vowels they don't split when we separate the word in syllables. This in syllables will be tam, bien, también. So these form the same syllable, right? When is it an hiatus? For example, the word había. Había is past tense for the verb haber, to be, right? Sorry, haber to have. Había has a tilde here, okay? Había is an hiatus because although there are 2 vowels together as in the diphthong, however, when we separate in syllables, it's like this: a, b, a. So these 2 vowels that are together, they are separated when in syllables, right? They both belong to a different syllable. So this is an hiatus. And here, when the syllable does not separate the 2 vowels, it's called a diphthong, okay? We need to learn when it is a diphthong, when it is an hiatus, right? Which are the rules to know when it has to be separated and when not. And once we learn that, I will be able to teach you how to use the second rule of tildes in Spanish. Bien, tenemos 5 vocales. We have 5 vowels, right? 5 vocales. A, E, I, O, U. 5 vowels: A, E, I, O, U. Las vocales se dividen en fuertes y débiles. Vowels are separated in strong and weak. Vocales fuertes son A, E, O. The strong vowels are A, I, O. Y las vocales débiles son I and U. The weak vowels are I, U. I, U. I, U. Okay? Why is this important? because of this. You know, in Spanish there is something we call sílaba tónica, the tonic syllable. It's the syllable that carries the strong intonation. For example, the word example has 3 syllables. Example, right? Where is the sílaba tónica? Where is the stress? Which syllable is stressed actually? Example, right? It's that one. In Spanish we call that sílaba tónica, the syllable that is stressed. In this case, también, it's this one, right? También, right? Because the stress in the intonation is in the last syllable, bien. Había, había. This is the sílaba tónica. Of this one is easy to find out because it has a tilde, right? So, whenever there is a tilde, that we know is a sílaba tónica. But there is always a sílaba tónica and there is not always a tilde, okay? For example, the word estufa. Estufa means heater, a heater, to produce heat, right? Estufa. The sílaba tónica is tu. Estufa, because the accent, the stress is in the second syllable. Okay. Now, we have a diphthong when we have 2 vowels together in the same syllable, right? And when those vowels are not separated in the syllable. When do we know that these vowels do not go separated? Because of this. These names are very appropriate. Strong vowels and weak vowels. Let's think of it this way. Let's think of it. If we have weak vowels, if you have two vowels together, the weak vowel cannot be separated because it's weak. It needs to be with another vowel, okay? I'll explain it this way because it's the easy way to understand and to remember. So, weak vowels cannot be separated. Strong vowels are strong, so they can be separated, right? Now look. También, we have I and E. I is a weak vowel. E is a strong vowel. We cannot separate this in syllables because I is weak and cannot be separated from vowel E, right? So, when we separate in syllables, we separate it. Tam, bien, right? This is all one single syllable. Había. Look at this. Había. Here we have 2 vowels together, I and A. A is a strong vowel, and I is a weak vowel. Per the rule I just explained, I should not be separated from A, because it is a weak vowel. It needs to be with A. However, since it carries the sílaba tónica, the stress of the word is on the I, right? Then it becomes a strong vowel because the accent is right on that vowel, right? Había, the accent is on the letter I, on the vowel I. So because of that, it's as if it becomes strong vowel. Therefore, había. Therefore, we have 2 strong vowels. I that became strong because of the accent, and A because it is a strong vowel. Now, if we have 2 strong vowels, like here, I with tilde and A, and one of them carries the accent, right? Like here, we have an hiatus, and this one carries a tilde because of the hiatus. Okay? Okay, I will explain about the tilde better when we talk about the second use of the tildes. Now I want to focus more on the hiatus. So, I and A are separated in two different syllables, right? Why? Because we have two strong vowels together, right? I with tilde and A, and the first one of both is a stressed vowel, right? It has the accent, the stressing of the word. Therefore, these two are separated in different syllables. So remember again, I is a weak vowel. However, it becomes strong because it's carrying here the strength or the stressing of the word, right? Había. Let me give you more examples so you can understand this concept well. Estufa, for heater, is it a diphthong or an hiatus? It's actually nothing. It's neither or both. We don't have any vowels together here, right? This is neither or both. The word camión. The word camión means truck, a truck. Camión. Here, we separate this in syllables like this. Camión. Camión. So, how do I know that these two vowels go together in the same syllable? Right? Why not ca, mi, on? Why is it camión? Because this is a diphthong. How do we know it is a diphthong? Okay, here is a reason. Look, I and O. Remember what I told you. O is a strong vowel. O, strong vowel. I is a weak vowel. I is a weak vowel. So, you cannot separate these two vowels. Why? Because I is weak. It cannot stay alone. It cannot stay alone. You cannot separate it from O. Therefore, they have to go together in the same syllable. Therefore, this is a diphthong. Remember, diphthongs when the vowels stay together in the same syllable. Hiatus, where the vowels are separated. So, vowels that are together in the same word, they are separated in different syllables, right? Like había, this is an hiatus. This is a diphthong. Okay, well, here we have an accent, right? We have a Spanish tilde. However, it doesn't change anything here because the Spanish tilde is on the O, which is already by itself, per se, it's already a strong vowel. So, it's strong and it remains strong. Nothing changes with the tilde. If the accent or the stressing were on the letter I, imagine there is a word called camión with the accent on the I, camión, right? There, the letter I would become a strong vowel because of the accent, and therefore we would have two strong vowels, I and O. Therefore, they would be separated in different syllables, and that would be an hiatus. However, since the word camión carries actually the accent on the O, right, the word for truck, then it is a diphthong, as you can see here. Another example. We said también, camión, cambiarse. The word cambiarse, to change. Cambiarse, right? Cambiarse is to change somebody's clothes, okay? Or to change something, it's simply cambiar, right? This is let's see if this is a diphthong or an hiatus. We have a letter I, vowel I, which is a weak vowel. And we have A, which is a strong vowel. Okay? So, where is the accent? Where is the sílaba tónica, the stressing of the word? Cambiar, right? You have to pronounce it aloud, at least mentally, right? To see where, in which vowel is the stressing of the word. Cambiar. As you can see, the stress is in the letter A, right? Letter A. Cambiar. Letter A is already a strong vowel. Nothing changes, right? It's already a strong vowel. So, we still have a weak vowel with a strong vowel. Remember that a weak vowel cannot be separated. Why? Because it's weak. It needs to be together with the other one. So, when we separate this in syllables, we leave these two together. Cambiar. Biar. So this is a diphthong. Diphthong. Right? And there are other examples where you have two weak vowels together. Let me see if I can think of any. Look at this one. Will. Will. The verb will means to run away. To run away. Run away is will. Estoy huyendo. I am running away. Right? So, here we have two weak vowels. Two weak vowels, right? I and you. Will. So, since these are two weak vowels, they cannot be separated and left alone in syllables, right? We cannot do this. U, ir. Why? Because each one is a weak vowel and it cannot stay alone. So, this is actually not separated in syllables. This is actually a monosyllabic word. Will is one single syllable. Will. You cannot separate it. If you're writing and you reach the end of the line, you cannot do this and continue writing il. You cannot. Because will is one single syllable. It's monosyllabic. So you either write it all here, or you write it in the next line. Will. Right? So, remember, diphthongs, you cannot separate in syllables. Hiatus, you can separate in different syllables. Another example of hiatus. Let's see if I can think of an hiatus with two strong vowels, for example. Aerobics, right? Aerobics. It's the aerobic gym, right? In Spanish we call it aeróbica. Aeróbica. Okay? Aeróbica. Aeróbica is separated in syllables. In our previous class, I talked about the diphthongs and hiatus in Spanish. En nuestra clase anterior les hablé sobre los diptongos y los hiatos en español. Les hablé de la diferencia de cada uno y cómo poder determinar cuándo tenemos un diptongo y cuándo tenemos un hiato. I taught you how to determine when we have a diphthong and when we have an hiatus. So today, I will show you few more examples, and we'll also learn a few more words, so a little bit more vocabulary, okay? En la clase de hoy vamos a practicar un poco más con hiatos y diptongos para determinar cuál corresponde en cada una de estas palabras. Vamos a saber si estas palabras son hiato o diptongo. So we'll practice and we'll see if here in each of these words we have an hiatus or a diphthong. Bien, reveamos lo que aprendimos en la clase pasada. A, E, O son vocales fuertes. Strong vowels, vocales fuertes. I, U son vocales débiles. I and U are weak vowels, vocales débiles, vocales débiles. I, U. Vocales fuertes, A, E, O. Ok, bien. Veamos estas palabras. La palabra hiere. Hiere es la conjugación en tercera persona del singular del verbo herir. So, hiere is the conjugation of the verb herir in the third person of the singular, he, she, it, right? Hiere means hurts, right? The verb herir means to hurt, right? To hurt in the sense of the action to hurt somebody, right? Él me hirió, he hurt me. Hiere is hurts. Hiere, let's see, is it an hiatus or a diphthong? So we have, where, first of all, we need to find if we have two vowels together in the same word. Here we have I and E are together. I and E. Once we find them, we have to see if we have strong and weak vowels. So I is a weak vowel and E is a strong vowel. So we have a weak vowel together with a strong vowel. Now we have to remember the rule we learned in the previous lesson. A weak vowel cannot be separated from the strong vowel, right? When we separate in syllables. Why? Because it's weak and it needs the stronger one. So we separate this in syllables. Ye, re. Yere, right? We cannot separate these two. We cannot say I, e, re. Not three syllables. Because I and D cannot go separated because I needs the strong vowel to be together. So here we have two syllables only. Hiere. Asiento. Where are the two vowels? I and E again. So same rule applies. I, weak vowel. E is a strong vowel. They have to stay together. A. Siento. Asiento. Right? Asiento. This is a diphthong. Diphthong. Why? Because we have two vowels that stay together in the same syllable. Diphthong. Asiento is Spanish for seat. The seat, to sit down. Puerto. Puerto is a port. Can be the port where we connect the mouse at the computer, right? That's a port, the USB port, okay? Or it can be the harbor, right? The harbor where we have ships and boats. That's a puerto, puerto. And if we add the prefix aero, we have we have aeropuerto, the airport, okay? Aeropuerto. So puerto is port or harbor. So we have two vowels together here, U and E. U is a weak vowel. E is a strong vowel. So same as the two before, these two other. Weak vowel cannot be separated from a strong one. So we separate in syllables like this. Puerto, puerto, puerto. Same thing for the word puerta. Puerta is Spanish for door. We open the door, we close the door. Abrimos la puerta, cerramos la puerta. Puerta es un diptongo también. Puerta. Puerto is a diphthong as well. Puer, diphthong. The Spanish word for championship is campeonato. Campeonato. Where are the two vowels together? E and O. E and O, two vowels together in the same word. Let's find out if it is a diphthong or an hiatus. E is a strong vowel. O is also a strong vowel. So here we have two strong vowels together, right? Strong vowels, they are strong, so they can be alone. They can stay alone. Therefore, we separate them in different syllables. Cam, pe, o, na, to. Cam, pe, o, na, to. Right? 5 syllables. 4 syllables is wrong. We do not separate it cam, pe, o, na, to. No. Because 2 strong syllables go separated. It's not a diphthong, it is an hiatus. So these are 5 syllables. Cam, pe, o, na, to. So therefore, here we have an hiatus, because the 2 vowels that were together in the word are separated in different syllables. Hiatus. Right? Okay. Next word, aviación, for aviation or aviation. Okay? Aviación. Aviación. Here we have two cases of vowels that are together. I and A and I and O, right? I and A first. I is a weak vowel, A is a strong vowel, right? So, same as these 3 examples up there, this is a diphthong, right? The weak vowel needs to stay together with the strong vowel. I and O, again, I is a weak vowel, O is a strong vowel. And even more so, it stays strong because it has the accent, right? On, right? Remember that in Spanish I told you that all the words in Spanish that carry the stressing in the last syllable, if they also end in a vowel or an N or an S, then they carry a tilde, right? So this one has the stress, the intonation in the last syllable, and it ends with N, therefore we have a tilde on the O, right? Okay, so here we have 2 diphthongs, right? Here and here. A, via, ción. Aviación. Let me make this nice. Aviación. 1 diphthong here, 2nd diphthong here, right? Aviación. Next word, ruin. Ruin means mean. Somebody that is mean. Alguien que es muy ruin, right? Okay. Ruin. Ruin is insignificant or bad, right? Or evil or base, right? Ruin. So, here we have 2 vowels together. Letter U is a weak vowel. Letter I is another weak vowel. So we have 2 weak vowels together. Therefore, weak vowels need to stay together because they are weak. They cannot be separated and stay alone in different syllables. So these 2 vowels cannot be separated into different syllables. So we cannot separate this like ruin. This is wrong. Wrong. Because 2 weak vowels stay together. So this is ruin. 1 single syllable. 1 single syllable. This is a monosyllabic word. Monosyllabic word. Okay, and monosyllabic words in general do not carry a Spanish tilde. This is a Spanish tilde, okay? Monosyllabic words in general do not carry a Spanish tilde unless they are included in the fourth rule of tildes, which I haven't taught yet. But let me give you a hint. There are many monosyllabic words in Spanish that we have different meaning being the same word. For example, the word más. Más. We have más without a tilde and más with a tilde. Más with a tilde means more, more. Quiero más, I want more. Más without a tilde is a synonym of the word pero. That means but. So, más without a tilde is but. Right? For example, quiero esto, mas no tengo dinero. I want this, but I have no money. Quiero esto, mas no tengo dinero. So here we have two words that it's the same word, but has different meanings, right? So therefore, to differentiate them, we put one of them carries a tilde, the other one does not. That's the fourth rule of tildes, right? There's a whole set of words where we differentiate one meaning from the other with a tilde. One has a tilde, the other one does not, right? So, other than that case, when we use a tilde for monosyllabic words to separate different meanings from monosyllabic words, the other rules of tildes do not apply for monosyllabic words. Okay? Good. That was a brief parenthesis because we'll continue talking more about tildes in some future lessons. The word abierto means open, open. For example, el comercio está abierto. The shop is open. Or la tienda está abierta. The shop is open, right? Abierto means open. So we have I and E, two vowels that are together. I is a weak vowel. E is a strong vowel, right? So weak vowel cannot be separated from a strong vowel, right? Therefore, we have another diphthong. Abierto. Abierto. These two cannot be separated because the weak vowel cannot stay alone. Abierto. Cafeteria. 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 Cafeteria can be a cafe where we sit down and have a coffee, or a cafeteria, right? Where we go and we have a snack, right? Cafeteria. Okay. This is a similar example to the word había that we saw in the previous lesson. What are the two vowels together here? I and A. I and A. I is a weak vowel. A is a strong vowel. However, this weak vowel, I, is carrying the accent, right? Or the stress of the word. We don't say cafeteria. We do not say cafeteria. We do not say cafeteria. We say cafeteria, right? So the intonation is in letter I, cafeteria, right? Therefore, the weak vowel becomes a strong vowel because of the stress. It carries the stress of the word. So, since the I became strong, now we treat it as a strong vowel. And now, since these two are strong vowels, we do separate them in different syllables because they are both strong. Ka, fe, te, ri, a. 5 syllables. Ka, fe, te, ri, a. Right? This is not a diphthong, it is an hiatus. Why an hiatus? Because the two vowels that were together in the word are separated in different syllables. I, a. Okay? And our last example, mueca. Mueca means grin. A grin which somebody does with a face, right? A contortion of the face. That is mueca. Can be a beautiful grin or an ugly grin. That is mueca, okay? Usually we use the word mueca for an ugly grin, right? A contortion of the face. Mueca. So here we have again two vowels together, U and E. U is a weak vowel, E is a strong vowel. So the weak vowel needs to stay together with the strong vowel. Mueca. Mueca. So we separate this in two syllables only. Mueca. So this is another case of a diphthong. Diphthong. Un diptongo. Bien, entonces hasta esto es lo que les quería enseñar sobre hiato y diptongo. La forma como se escribe hiato en español es así: hiato, hiato. Hiato is hiatus in Spanish, right? Hiatus, hiato. Now look how ironic. The word hiatus in Spanish actually has a diphthong. Why? Look, here we have two vowels together, right? A and I. I is a weak vowel. A is a strong vowel. So the weak vowel cannot be separated from the strong one. So ya, to. Two vowels. Ya is one syllable. So the hiato, the Spanish word for hiatus, hiato, actually has a diphthong. Okay? The Spanish word for diphthong is diphtongo. 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 Diphtongo, hiato. Diphtongo, hiato. Diphtongo, hiato. Okay? Diphtongo is Spanish for diphthong. Hiato is Spanish for hiatus. Right? Bien, con esto terminamos la clase sobre hiato y diptongo. Here we finish our class about hiatus and diphthong. Y en esto nos vamos a basar para poder aprender la segunda regla de los tildes en español. So we will actually use this knowledge, right? We need this in order to learn the second rule of the Spanish tildes, which I will teach you in our next class. Thanks for watching and goodbye. In today's class, I will teach you the second rule of the Spanish accents. If you remember, in our previous lesson, I taught the Spanish hiatus and the Spanish diphthongs, okay? So that topic from our previous class was fundamental in order to learn our second rule of the Spanish accents. In total, we have 4 rules. Those 4 rules tell us when and how to use exactly and correctly the Spanish tildes, right? The Spanish accent, that little line that you see sometimes on top of some vowels, that is called tilde, okay? The word accent, acento, in Spanish means something slightly different than the tilde. What is accent in Spanish? In Spanish, technically, the word accent is used for the syllable, right, or the vowel that has the stress of the word, right, where the vowel where the word is stressed, that is called acento in Spanish, accent, okay? However, not all the words have a tilde, and all the words have an accent, right? For example, the word camino, right? Camino means path or way, camino. there is no tilde here, right? There is no tilde. There's just an I with a dot, right? Camino has no tilde. Nevertheless, it does have an accent. The accent is here in the I, right? So accent and tilde is not exactly the same thing in Spanish. I know that many people, many Spanish speakers call the tilde, they call it accent, okay? However, this is technically wrong. Tilde is the little line you can see here, while accent is just the place where we have the stress of a word. Okay, now our title for today is Segunda regla del uso del tilde. Second rule of the use of the tilde, or the Spanish accent, right? So when do we use this second rule of the tilde? Here is it. Cuando la sílaba tónica está en la vocal débil de un hiato. Okay, I won't talk again about hiatus because I explained hiatus thoroughly in our previous class, right? So I assume you already know what an hiatus is and when we have an hiatus, okay? So I assume you understand which are the weak vowels and which are the strong vowels, okay? Good. So, what does this mean? Cuando la sílaba tónica está en la vocal débil de un hiato. It's exactly this. When the stress of a word is on the weak vowel of an hiatus, okay? So, we have a word. This word has an hiatus, right? If this hiatus is formed, well, actually, not all hiatus have a weak vowel. We have hiatus where we have two strong vowels, okay? However, if this hiatus has a weak vowel and the accent or the stress of the word is on this weak vowel, then we have a tilde, right? A tilde that is because of this second rule of the Spanish tildes. You will understand it better when we go through these examples, okay? So, remember what an hiatus is, okay? This is an hiatus. This is an hiatus. We have, within one word, we have two vowels that are together, but they are separated into different syllables, right, in the same word. So, in the word, both vowels are together, but they both form a different syllable, right? U and A are separated here, right? So this is an hiatus. This is what we taught in the previous class. So, we have an hiatus here, okay? Where is the accent of the word? The accent is where the stress is. So let's read aloud this word. Actúa. Actúa. Where is the stress? The stress is in U. Actúa. Okay? So, U is part of the hiatus, right? And U is a weak vowel. Therefore, U carries a tilde. Okay? You can see I wrote a tilde on top of the U. Let's review which are the weak vowels and which are the strong vowels. So, A, E, and O are strong vowels. I and U are weak vowels, okay? So here we have an hiatus formed by a weak vowel and a strong vowel. The accent, the intonation or the stress is on the weak vowel, right? Therefore the weak vowel becomes strong, okay? And therefore we have, instead of a diphthong, we have an hiatus. And the strong vowel carries the tilde, okay? So this is, I'm assuming you do remember our previous lesson. Okay, let's take a look at our second example. The word había. Había means there was, right? It comes from the verb haber. It is a conjugation of the verb haber. This is the verb in infinitive. Haber is one of the 4 most important Spanish verbs, okay? It's also the Spanish auxiliary verb used for conjugating tenses, okay? For example, I have gone, we use haber. Yo he ido, right? Okay. Había means there was. Here is the hiatus, okay? Here, hiatus. Hiatus is separated into 2 syllables, 2 different syllables. Again, había, the stress is on letter I, E, había. Therefore, since I is a weak vowel, it carries a tilde, right? Again, next example, licúa. Licúa comes from the word licuar. Licuar means to blend or to mix, right? For example, the Spanish word for blender, where we prepare a shake, right? A banana shake, a milkshake. The word is licuadora, blender. And licúa is conjugation of the verb licuar, means to blend, okay? Actually, sorry, means blends. Licúa. So again, we have an hiatus here, okay? An hiatus. Here it's separated into 2 different syllables. And licúa. The accent, the intonation is on the U. Licúa. Therefore, the U, since it is a weak vowel, it carries the tilde, okay? We have next word, raíz. Raíz. Raíz means root. We have the root of a tree, the root of a plant, right? Or somebody's family roots, for example, okay? In Spanish we say raíces familiares, family roots, or raíz de un árbol, the root of a tree, or raíz de una planta, the root of a plant. So, here we have another hiatus, A and I. They are separated in different syllables. And the I, which is the weak syllable, the weak vowel, is where the accent or the stress or the intonation goes, okay? Raíz, raíz. So, therefore it carries a tilde, the line. Next we have the word heladería. Heladería, which means ice cream parlor, right? It's a shop where we go to buy ice cream. Heladería es a donde vamos a comprar helados. It's where we go, a donde vamos a comprar, to buy helados, ice creams. Okay, heladería. Tenemos aquí un hiato. Here we have an hiatus. Y el hiato está aquí. Las dos vocales se separan. Both vowels are separated. La sílaba tónica está en la I. Heladería. Ia. Okay, so the accent is on I. Ia. Okay, since I is a weak vowel, it carries the tilde. Okay, our next example. Vía. Vía means a way or a route. Okay, way or route along which a car or a person or a chariot or whatever goes. Okay, vía can be a water channel as well. That can also be a vía, right? So vía has an hiatus here, formed by a weak vowel and an A that is a strong vowel. Okay, and since the intonation, the stress is on the letter I, vía. Therefore, letter I carries the tilde again. Okay? Here we have two syllables, and here is the tilde. Our last example is sebúes. Sebúes is a plural word. Okay? Plural word for cebú. Cebú. What is cebú? Cebú is a type of cow. A type of cow. It's that grayish, whitish cow that has a big hunch. Okay? It's not the Hereford type of cow or the Aberdeen Angus. It's the hunched cow, right? That is very typical from tropical climates, right? That hunched cow is called cebú. Cebú. And the plural for cebú is sebúes. Sebúes. And you can see we have an hiatus here. Sebúes. And where is the stress of the word? In the U. Sebúes. Ues. Therefore, since letter U is a weak vowel, it carries a tilde here, the little line, U. Sebúes. Okay, so why do we have to know how and when to use the tildes? In Spanish, using or omitting a tilde, using incorrectly a tilde or omitting it when a tilde goes, that is considered a typo. It is a mistake. It is a misspelling. Okay? And whenever a word carries a tilde, that tilde it does have a purpose. This word is actúa. If we omit the tilde, instead of being pronounced actúa, it is pronounced actua, which means nothing. Había. If we omit the tilde, this reads había. Okay? Which means nothing. Licúa. If we omit the tilde, it is read licua, which is okay because the verb licuar is accepted as licua or liqua. Okay? So you can actually stress either the U or the I. Both ways are accepted. The word raíz. If you omit the tilde, this reads raíz, which means nothing. The word heladería. If you omit the tilde, this reads heladería, which means nothing, and actually it sounds more similar to the word refrigerator, which is heladera. Right? Heladera means refrigerator. But heladería means nothing. The word vía, if we omit the tilde, it reads vía, which means nothing. And the word sebúes, if we omit the tilde, it reads sebúes, which also means nothing. Instead of being sebúes, it reads sebúes. Okay? So, tildes have a purpose in Spanish. Spanish is a regular language. Never mind if you read a word for the first time in your life and you have never heard that word before. If the word is correctly spelled and correctly written, you should have no problem whatsoever to read the word properly and to use the right intonation in Spanish, okay? Because of the rules of the tildes. So this is our rule number 2. If you have any questions, I invite you to write, to send me any comments, any suggestions, and in our following classes I will continue teaching our rules number 3 and number 4. Thanks for watching. Today I will teach you the 3rd rule of the Spanish accents. If you remember, I told you in Spanish there are 4 rules to determine when and how to use the Spanish accent, right? The Spanish accent, in Spanish we call it tilde, okay? El acento en español se llama tilde. The word accent in Spanish has a slightly different meaning than the word tilde, okay? The accent is a syllable, or the accent is the stress on a word. That's the accent. While the tilde is that line that goes on top of the letter, of the vowel, right? Okay, third rule of Spanish accents. When do we have a Spanish accent in addition to the other two rules we have previously learned? Question words. Those question words in Spanish we have learned, like por qué, why, cómo, how, quién, who, cuándo, when, donde, where, okay? All those question words that you are very well familiar with, at least in English, right? Spanish question words, when they are involved in a question or an exclamation, right? Exclamation means a sentence that is in between exclamation marks, okay? Remember that in Spanish we open marks for question sentences and exclamation sentences. Okay, so whenever a question word is inside a question mark or implying a question, okay, or an exclamation, that question word carries a tilde. And that is the third rule of the Spanish tildes. So, I'll give you some examples. The word quién. The word quién means who. Example. ¿Quién te dijo? This means who told you. Who told you? ¿Quién te dijo? ¿Quién te dijo? Okay, so this is a question word. And the question word is carrying a tilde because it's involved in a question, right? So, what other kind of sentences can a question word be involved in if it's not a question, right? Here, I'll show you. Quien quiera venir, que venga. Okay, this is just one example sentence. Okay, here we are using a question word that is not actually working like a question word. Okay, it's the same word as here, but here it doesn't carry a tilde because it's not involved in a question. Quien quiera venir, que venga. So, what does this mean? Whoever wants to come, come. Okay? Whoever wants to come, come. Another example with a question word. The word donde, right? Donde means where, where. So, example. Question word involved in a question. ¿Dónde está? Very basic, simple sentence. ¿Dónde está? Where is it? Where is it? Okay, it's involved in a question, therefore it carries the tilde. Now, let's use the same word, but this time not in a question. Let's see. Donde sea, for example, okay? Donde sea. This means wherever, 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 or whatever, okay? So, wherever means is donde sea. This is not a question, so there is not a tilde here. Wherever it is. Wherever it may be. Donde sea que esté. Donde sea que esté. Wherever it may be. So, here the question word is not involved in a question, therefore it's not a question word anymore and it's not carrying a tilde. Here, it is a question word, it's involved in a question, therefore it carries a tilde. Here we have a tilde, but this has nothing to do with the third rule. This tilde here corresponds to the first rule of the Spanish accents, which I have already taught before, okay? Okay, an example using an exclamation mark, okay? Let's see. How beautiful. How beautiful. Qué hermoso. Okay? The word que means how. Qué hermoso. Here, it's implying an exclamation. Even if the sentence does not include the question marks or the exclamation marks, nevertheless, if the meaning of the word is implying either a question or an exclamation, it does carry the tilde. Qué hermoso. Okay? The Spanish question word que, when it is a question word or an exclamation word, it means what or how, right? Here, the word que, without the tilde, means more like that meaning, okay? The meaning of the word that in English. Okay, so remember, this is the third rule of the Spanish accents or tildes. Whenever we have any question word from Spanish, whatever question word, if that question word is involved in a question or an exclamation, it carries a tilde, okay? And that's the application of the third rule of the Spanish accents. So this is all for today's class. Don't forget to send me any questions if you have any. I'm posting tests and quizzes to my website, so you can go ahead and practice or do an assessment and see how well you're doing in Spanish. Okay? So thanks for watching, and next we will learn the fourth and last rule of Spanish tildes. Goodbye. Dear students, in this class I will teach you the last of the four rules of the Spanish accents. So the Spanish tildes. We said that we have in total 4 rules, okay? This is the only one we were still lacking, and once you learn this one, if you actually manage to remember and understand when and how to use tildes in Spanish, okay? If you remember when and how to use each one of the 4 rules I have taught you, then you will have an advantage over perhaps 90% of native Spanish speakers, okay? The huge majority of native Spanish speakers, unfortunately, they do not manage these rules very well of Spanish tildes, okay? So it is a very important topic in Spanish. Technically, if a word that carries a tilde, if you type it without the tilde, or vice versa, if you put a tilde where the tilde should not go, that is considered a typo, okay? It is a typo. So not knowing when and how to use tildes is synonym to making mistakes, okay? So it is a relevant topic to learn. So, okay, let's get into the topic. Fourth rule of Spanish accents, or cuarta regla del uso de los tildes. Fourth rule of the usage or use of the tildes. Bien, la cuarta regla the fourth rule trata de las palabras monosilábicas. It is about the monosyllabic words que tienen más de un posible significado, that have more than one possible meaning, okay? So, we are talking about monosyllabic words that have only one syllable. You cannot separate them in syllables. the rules 1 and 2 were for words that had more than one syllable, right? Rules 1 and 2 mainly, okay? Words that had more than one syllable. Rule number 4 is particularly, especially for words that have only one syllable. I'll give you some example. The word más, okay, with a tilde is not the same as the word más without the tilde. This word with a tilde means more or plus, right? More plus. This one here means but, okay? It's a synonym of the word pero, okay? So this is equal to the word pero, that means but. So, this is an example of what I'm telling about. Monosyllabic words that have more than one meaning, okay? So, the fourth rule of the tildes, of the Spanish accents, determines in which situation the monosyllabic words need to carry the tilde, to carry one meaning, or not to carry the tilde to imply the other meaning, okay? So, más and más. Another example, aún and aún, okay? They are pronounced exactly the same. The pronunciation is the same because these are monosyllabic words. But aún with a tilde is a synonym of todavía, which means still. While, let's write it still, okay? While aún without the tilde means incluso or inclusive, which means it's like saying included, right? Okay, another example, let's see. The word que, right? Que and que, right? Question word, and here the que with the tilde means what, right? What? Que without the tilde means that. I mean that, blah 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 blah, okay? This, however, can be an overlapping of rule number 4 and rule number 3 that states that question words, when implying a question, they should carry the tilde. Only that since this question word is also a monosyllabic word, then it makes part of rule number 4. So let's see some more examples of monosyllabic words. The word sí. Sí with a tilde means yes. Sí without the tilde means if. The if-then clause, okay? For example, si llueve, no saldré de casa. If it rains, I will not leave home. So, si without the tilde is if. Si with the tilde is yes. Dije que sí. I said yes. Veamos otro ejemplo. Let's see another example. El pronombre tú y el pronombre posesivo tú. So, tú and tú, same pronunciation. Tú with a tilde means you, right? The subject pronoun you. For example, you said this. Tú dijiste esto, right? Now, without the tilde, it is the possessive pronoun. Tu auto, your car, okay? So this one is your, and this one is you. Tu, you. Tu without the tilde, your, okay? Same thing with él, which is different than él without the tilde. With the tilde, it is a subject pronoun, he, right? He. Él dice que vendrá. He says that he will come. Él, sin el tilde, él, without the tilde, is just an article, the masculine article. Él, sin el tilde, es el artículo masculino. The, okay? It means the, like in the car, el auto, okay? So we have many more examples of monosyllabic words that will carry one meaning if they carry the tilde, and will carry a different meaning if they do not carry the tilde. So that is what the fourth rule of the Spanish accents is about, right? So it is important, you see. It is important because if you do not use the tilde, where it goes and when it goes, the words may be meaning something different than what you are using the word for, okay? Let me think of some other example. Me, for example, right? Me and me, right? Me here means me. Like, for example, esto es para mí. Esto es para mí. This is for me. This is for me. Esto es para mí, with a tilde. Now, me without a tilde means my. My. Like, for example, in mi auto. My car. My car. Mi auto. Mi perro. My dog. So, me and me, different meanings. Okay? Same word, one with a tilde, another one without the tilde. Okay? So I will not write down the whole list of words, of monosyllabic words that can carry the tilde for one meaning and not for another meaning. Okay? But you will come across many more of these words regularly if you start speaking in Spanish, or writing in Spanish, or reading in Spanish. And well, if you understand the fourth rule of the Spanish tildes, you will know how important it is to use accents wherever they go. Okay, so we finished our topic, Spanish tildes, with this class. We have rule number 1, rule number 2, rule number 3, and rule number 4. And in the Spanish quizzes or Spanish tests that I'll be publishing in my website, I'll be including exercises about tildes, okay? So I really recommend that you learn this topic very well, okay? Once you learn it, it becomes second nature. You'll find the logic of it all, and it just stays with you, okay? So thanks for watching, and goodbye.